The immortal John Hancock here, and today I'm going to be discussing good and cheap PlayStation 2 games that you can still find today. You know, I worked at a GameStop when the PlayStation 2 came out. I was in college, and I have so many great memories of that console, and it has such a vast library. Now, these are just a mere fraction of the amazing games on its library. You may have different picks. If I was to pick 10 games that you can still find relatively cheap that give kind of a good theme or overview of the PlayStation 2, here we go. First up, I have to talk about one of my favorite racing games of all time, and that's Burnout 3 Takedown. I love the multiplayer options in this game. It's fast. It's that arcade racer type game. It's a great game if you just want to race and smash things. It's got epic speed. It's got so many great gameplay mechanics. The PlayStation 2 was a great time for arcade racers, and I can't think of a better game other than Burnout 3. You know, people have their favorite modes in this game. There's lots of different things you can do. I just like to just get into the game and race a track and just smash into things. It's got a great sense of speed. So definitely one of my favorite racers of all time. Check it out. All right, next up. Everybody knows that I am a huge Ghouls and Ghosts fan, and I have to recommend Maximo, which is kind of like a spiritual successor to the series. And this is a free-roaming 3D world game. This is a very challenging game like the original, but I think it's great. I think it captures the spirit of the original franchise, and you can't go wrong with this. You know, I really would love this to be remastered. You know, with all these remasters going on, this should be redone. I think a lot of people dig it, and you know, Capcom re-releasing and remastering some of their other franchises, it would be great if they brought this back too. Next up, I love vehicle car combat, and you know, growing up with the original PlayStation, I was a huge Twisted Metal 2 fan. I think Twisted Metal Black is probably one of the best of the series. It has excellent frame rate, and I love the theme around all the characters come from an asylum. And so it has kind of a dark overtone of this game. I really like the graphics and theme that they did with this. It's a fantastic game. If you're a fan of the original series and haven't checked this out, this is definitely one to go back and revisit, and fairly affordable too. So I really enjoy what they did with this. I really love the layout of the stages and things you can destroy. Kind of a throwback to, you know, one of my favorites, Twisted Metal 2, and so definitely worth checking out. This next game is not going to be everybody's favorite. It's kind of an overlooked PlayStation 2 exclusive, and that's Dark Cloud. And Dark Cloud kind of combines RPG elements with light city creation. And you know, I never beat this game. This game's fairly long. I actually really like the music in this game. And so instead of leveling up characters in this game, you actually level up your weapons. I think that's cool. It's more of an action-oriented RPG. There's some minor annoyances in this game. Sometimes you have to backtrack in stages, and so it was re-released on the PlayStation 4, so if you want to check it out that way. But there is a lot to like about Dark Cloud. Maybe you grew up with it, maybe you remember playing it. I think it's a great overlooked game on the PlayStation 2. It's an early release. The graphics aren't the greatest, but I still think it's fun to play, and I really like the gameplay mechanics. Very cool, nice combination. I like it, you know, games such as like ActRaiser, you know, taking two different types of games and putting them together. When it's done right, it's pretty awesome. Huge Tekken fan, and Tekken Tag Tournament, which is a great kind of, to me, it's like a prettier version of Tekken 3. And so once this came out, I played a lot less Tekken 3 and played a lot of this. Now I know it's been remastered for the PlayStation 3, but I like going back to the original PlayStation 2 version. You know, I'm a big Paul Phoenix fan, and so he's one of my favorite characters. And so this is a wonderful fighting game, and it's easy kind of to get in if you're not like a master of fighting games. And so it's kind of a great pick up and play style game. And so I do like the juggling that you can do in this game. You can juggle people pretty bad. There's like over 35 characters in this game, a lot of unlockables and stuff. And so I really like going back to, you know, something I know well, and that's a good pick. If you're into like off-road dirt bikes, then this one is for you. ATV Off Road Fury, and there's a whole series. There's 4 of them. I think a lot of fans would say the second one is probably their favorite. There's like a train level in that one that's quite a bit of fun, I think. But you want to go back to the original. Cool stunts you can do in this game. The tracks are great. It's got a great sense of control. I really went back and played this. I hadn't played this in a long time. It's easily 15 years. And I still had a lot of fun playing this. It felt like I was on an ATV. I think if you're a fan of, ATVs or dirt bikes, or that kind of want to have that sense of racing, of that type of racing, this is a great pick. This next one I've talked about before, and if you're just looking for a game to just chill, relax, and it's Flipnic. And Flipnic is a great video game pinball game. And so what I like about this is it's not just a pinball game. It kind of takes, the mechanics of a video game and merges them with pinball. And so there's a lot to like here. It's got great kind of environment and vibe. To me, I kind of compare this to like Tetris Effect. You're playing it just to chill. I really like this game, and I really like pinball video games. You have to like pinball video games. If you don't like those, then you're not going to like this. But if you're a fan of pinball video games, this one often gets overlooked. It's relatively cheap, and it's one I highly recommend to go back to the PlayStation 2. I love myself some action-adventure games, and I can't think of a better game on the PlayStation 2 in that genre than God of War. God of War, it has amazing environment and sound. I really love the sound in God of War. And another game that's been remastered on the PlayStation 3, but I like going back to the originals and kind of seeing how they were. And, there's a lot to like in here. And so I love the character that you're playing, Kratos, and kind of that Greek mythology theme. I've definitely been kind of into those type of games. I'm playing currently Hades, and so going back and playing the original God of War, it holds up. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely action oriented, and with some minor puzzles and stuff. Great boss fights too, and so I definitely think this is one of the better games on the PlayStation 2, and it just shows why the PlayStation 2 was so successful. Sony was just making franchise after franchise with quality games. And so, it's cool that they are still moving forward with this series. And, I haven't played a lot of the PlayStation 4 God of War. I need to definitely go back and play that one. And they have a new one coming out for the PlayStation 5. Very cool. All right, next up is kind of an arcade style sports game. I definitely have to include a sports game on this series because I think that sports games can be a lot of fun, and it just has to be the right one that you like to play. Now, I'm a huge fan of NBA Jam and that type of sports style where you can pick up and play a quick game, be done. I'm not a fan of multiple hour sports games, but so NBA Street is a great franchise, and this is kind of the arcade style, pick up and play a game, play with somebody, play against the computer, different modes, lots of unlockables in this. There's codes and all sorts of stuff. It's definitely, to me, has that kind of feel of NBA Jam with better graphics. And so you can't go wrong. There's a lot of great players from the early 2000s on this. And so it's a great one to go back. If you're just wanting to play kind of an arcade style sports game, definitely NBA Street. You can't go wrong. Highly recommend it. This next one's been released on lots of things, but I remember going back and playing the PlayStation 2 version of Resident Evil 4. Now, it is on current gen consoles. It's been remastered. I think this is still holds up. This is scary. It had some great gameplay elements. Really, Resident Evil 4 was the one that kind of got me into the series. I'd played the other ones, but I really enjoyed kind of the different gameplay aspects and style that they included with Resident Evil 4. Still scary, still fun to play. There's lots of different versions of this. I do like the PlayStation 2 version, and I think it's one of the better Resident Evil 4 games that I like to play of the classic releases. And so there's a lot to like here. It's definitely scary. You know, and some people might say, well, why would I go back and play the original when there's been remastered? Well, you may not have a current gen console. You're going to find this really cheap because it was released on everything. And I like the PlayStation 2 version of it. I think whether you play on original CRT or you're playing backwards compatible on a PlayStation 3 or some other way, I still think that when it comes down to the gameplay, sound, and fun, this is still a great game to play. And that's it. That's my picks. And so I have thought about a wide range of games. There's some others that I could easily include, including the Grand Theft Auto series, Final Fantasy X, Red Faction. I mean, the list goes on and on. I could have really included, you know, easily 50 games on this list, but I wanted to narrow it down to the 10 that I would want to go back and play. And so these are the games that either I played when they came out or games that I would look at and say, yeah, I would like to go and revisit that. So what are your picks? What are your picks for good and cheap games on the PlayStation 2 that are worth going back and playing? I would love to hear your comments below. And as always, thank you for the ongoing comments. They mean the world to me. Keep it positive. Hit that like and subscribe button and click the bell as I'm uploading videos all the time, every week. This is the Immortal John Hancock. Thank you for the support. You take care.